The final day of the September FIFA International window brings us to Georgetown, Cayman Islands in the Truman Bodden Sports Complex. It's Concacaf Nations League action, League C, Group C. It's St. Kitts and Nevis and the British Virgin Islands. I'm Josh Eastern. Thanks so much for being with us on this Tuesday afternoon and turning into evening. It is a very warm afternoon at 90 degrees Fahrenheit, a light breeze, and a chance of rain in the forecast today here in Georgetown. We are in League C and Group C for this afternoon's fixture, and this is what the standings look like so far. St. Kitts and Nevis and the Cayman Islands on the board with points thus far. The Cayman Islands have played 2 games so far in this window, and now it is time for both the British Virgin Islands and St. Kitts and Nevis to play their respective second matches. It started out last Wednesday right here in Georgetown, where the British Virgin Islands took on the Cayman Islands, and it was the Cayman Islands to come away with a 1-0 win on that day. A goal scored in the 84th minute was the decisive goal in the game that got the Cayman Islands the full 3 points. Then on Saturday, another fixture, St. Kitts and Nevis taking the field for the first time and taking on the Cayman Islands. It was a 4-1 win for St. Kitts and Nevis on the day, as they had 3 different goal scorers. It was Taquani Williams who scored a brace, as they scored 4 goals on the day and will be seen as the favorites here today, and probably the favorites in this group as well. The teams are making their way out onto the field here at the Truman Bodden Sports Complex in Georgetown, Cayman Islands. A big opportunity for both teams to close out this September window on the front foot. For St. Kitts and Nevis, trying to make it a perfect 2 for 2. As for the British Virgin Islands, trying to get a result in this window. We are building you up to first kick. We will hear the national anthem of both St. Kitts and Nevis along with the British Virgin Islands as we get you set for first kick here in Georgetown.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do ask that if you can stand, please do so for the playing of the national anthems of St. Kitts and Nevis and the British Virgin Islands.
Building you up to first kick this afternoon from Georgetown, Cayman Islands in the Truman Bodden Sports Complex. Concacaf Nations League action, League C and Group C between St. Kitts and Nevis and the British Virgin Islands.
Number 8, Johannes Mitchell.
Final handshakes between both sides as we get a little bit closer to first kick. Today's starting lineups will start with St. Kitts and Nevis for manager Francisco Molina, who makes 2 changes from the last match out for St. Kitts and Nevis. That 4-1 win against the Cayman Islands. Players to watch: Taquani Williams scored a brace. Jonas Stephen also with a goal to his name. Kamari Rogers starts on the bench today. He was also a goal scorer in that game.
Number 5, Jaden Abrams. Number 6, Tashard.
The captain for St. Kitts and Nevis is the goalkeeper Jelani Archibald, while Kavan Caesar is wearing the captain's armband for the British Virgin Islands. Our referee from Trinidad and Tobago, it is Andrew Samuel. Both of our ARs today from Bermuda and from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Moeth Games is the 4th official. Final photo up and exchanging of the pennants as well. A look at the starting lineups for the British Virgin Islands, and a late scratch into the lineups. It was Jaden Abrams who was injured in the warm-up, so he is out, and he's being replaced by Justin Smith, who was a starter in the last game. So it's only 3 changes for manager Chris Kiwomya as they come into play today without a goal so far in their 1 match played. And with that, we are almost set for first kick from Georgetown here in the Cayman Islands, the Truman Bodden Sports Complex. St. Kitts and Nevis along with the British Virgin Islands. Final checks from the referees. And we can get this one underway. St. Kitts and Nevis is in red, and in the yellow tops and black shorts, it is the British Virgin Islands. Just waiting for the bottom of the hour, and we can get this one underway. There's the whistle, and we are underway. It's St. Kitts and Nevis and the British Virgin Islands. This is already an early touch for Mackay Waters, the 21-year-old goalkeeper for the British Virgin Islands, who makes his international debut today. So something to look forward to for the youngster. And already St. Kitts and Nevis coming out on the front foot, the presumptive favorites coming into play today. A St. Kitts and Nevis side that has flip-flopped between League B and League C over the previous 3 editions of Concacaf Nations League, starting in League B, being relegated, then being moved back up for the last edition, and now back here in League C. The last time they were in League C, it was pretty successful. 3 wins, no losses, and a draw. They were in the same group as Aruba and St. Martin. At this time around, they are looking for the same success they had as Taquani Williams is pulled back, and it's an early free kick coming for St. Kitts and Nevis. Couple of options standing over this set piece. Taquani Williams is one of them. Vaughn Amory the other. Williams coming off a brace last time out. He has 6 international goals in his career. This is all Taquani Williams, and it's off the wall. Throw-in now coming on the far side for the British Virgin Islands, a team that is looking for some success on a 3-game losing streak. But when you go back to last year in Concacaf Nations League, they ended up beating Turks and Caicos, and then a draw against Dominica, and then another draw against Turks and Caicos. And they stay right here in League C. They were one of the teams involved in the first round of CONCACAF World Cup qualifying, one of 4 teams that was involved in that. And it was a battle of the Virgin Islands in round 1, the U.S. Virgin Islands and the British Virgin Islands. It was a 1-1 draw in the first leg in St. Croix, and then back in Road Town in the British Virgin Islands, it was a 0-0 draw. It went to penalty kicks, and the British Virgin Islands came away with the victory. That got them into the second round of CONCACAF World Cup qualifying, where they ended up losing their first 2 matches to Guatemala and the Dominican Republic by combined 7-0. British Virgin Islands, a FIFA ranking of 207. That is out of 210 nations. Meanwhile, St. Kitts and Nevis, they come in at FIFA ranking 146. Right around them, countries like Botswana, the Philippines, Antigua and Barbuda as well. They're also a couple spots better than the Dominican Republic, who come in at 150. Trying to move this down the line. The cross coming in, bouncing around the box. Virgin Islands able to get this out of play, and it's a corner kick coming for St. Kitts and Nevis. In-swinging ball dealt with at the near post. British Virgin Islands able to get this out, just trying to find something upfield, but nothing doing for British Virgin Islands there. In the last game, the British Virgin Islands outpossessed 56 to 44%. Also had just 3 shots in the game. None of them were on target. Trying to get something going in the attack are the British Virgin Islands here today. All the way to the end line, and this runs out of play. It's a goal kick coming. This is a St. Kitts and Nevis side that has seen some good success over these past years. A win in World Cup qualifying this summer against the Bahamas. They won that one at home by 1-0, but they did lose to Costa Rica by 4-0. They also played a couple of friendlies against San Marino over in Europe in March. It was a 3-1 win and then a 0-0 draw in the second match. When you go back to 2023, a St. Kitts and Nevis side that ended up reaching the Gold Cup. They weren't necessarily supposed to get in, but they did, just based on how it all shook out in the end. But a great opportunity for this nation to make the Gold Cup for the first time ever. They did not win a game, they did not score a goal, they conceded 14, but still that opportunity was big time for St. Kitts and Nevis. Bouncing around again, and the British Virgin Islands able to get this one out. A whistle here, and it's a free kick on the way for the British Virgin Islands. Just a little bump in the back there as Tyler Forbes went down. A free kick on the way. Forbes, who is being tended to here, just maybe getting something taped up. Miguel Marshall, the 22-year-old, stands over this. Here it comes, and it's an easy catch for Jelani Archibald. And a whistle here, a free kick going back the other way. Again, St. Kitts and Nevis taking some time on the ball. No surprise, they'll be the team on the front foot today. It's floated forward again. Nothing doing here in the opening few minutes for St. Kitts and Nevis. A team that is coming off a big win against the Cayman Islands by 4-1. They outshot the Cayman Islands that day 19-8. They had 10 shots on target, a couple of big chances in the game. And 4 goals. It didn't take them long to get their first. They scored in the 10th minute through Rogers and Taquani Williams, able to chip in 2 in the 19th and 37th minute, and then Deona Stephen added 1 more in the second half. You would give St. Kitts and Nevis every chance in the world to be promoted back to League B after this edition. They are the resounding favorites in this group. There is no doubt about it. Touched in field. Quick passing here from St. Kitts and Nevis. Looking through the lines, flipped forward. Taquani Williams brings it down and scores! Williams with his 3rd goal in 2 games. That was some nifty stuff from St. Kitts and Nevis. Just let it run through, and Williams slots it into the corner. It's 1-0 to St. Kitts and Nevis.
Ladies and gentlemen, the goal scored for St. Kitts and Nevis by number 7, Taquani Williams. The goal scored in the 11th minute.
Taquani Williams continuing to score in this competition. And that is exactly what the doctor ordered for St. Kitts and Nevis, an early goal to get them out in front. Williams, who scored 4 goals in the last edition of Nations League. Edition before that, he scored a goal. Also scored a goal in Concacaf Gold Cup qualifiers last year. And now gets his 3rd goal for St. Kitts and Nevis in this edition of Nations League. A very good start for St. Kitts and Nevis, exactly what they were looking for. It's the first ever meeting in Concacaf Nations League between St. Kitts and Nevis and the British Virgin Islands. And the British Virgin Islands might be in with the shout for that best second place team. As this comes forward again, moved out wide for Emery. Emery gets the cross away. The goalkeeper falling down. Waters able to get back to his feet. St. Kitts and Nevis will recycle it on the far side. Comes back in field, another block. And a foul. It's a free kick coming for the British Virgin Islands. Played over the top. This will run through, and a touch for Jelani Archibald. St. Kitts and Nevis looking upfield again, trying to play it through the lines, and on the turn again to Kwani Williams. He's the one that really makes this go for St. Kitts and Nevis. We've seen it in past years. It's scored some big goals in his career on the international level. Another shot from distance, asking for a deflection, and St. Kitts and Nevis will get it. It was Mervyn Lewis who was trying his luck from distance there. The 24-year-old earning his 15th cap today, has never scored on the international level. Johannes Mitchum standing over it. Mitchum, the in-swinger, put in a good area, but the header away by the British Virgin Islands. St. Kitts and Nevis do well there to keep possession once again. And this is turning out to just be a big game of keep away at the moment for St. Kitts and Nevis. British Virgin Islands have barely had a sniff of the ball. They had a free kick early on, but it was pretty straightforward for the goalkeeper. Through the lines again. St. Kitts and Nevis content to be very patient. This is a back line that has stayed together over the last couple of games. Raheem Hanley, Malik Roberts, Andre Burley forming that back three for St. Kitts and Nevis, while Jelani Archibald, one of the oldest players on the team, 33 years old, along with Dionis Stephen, Steven, a 33-year-old, number 22 in red. He made his debut last time out, and he scored on his debut. Broken up. The British Virgin Islands just looking to play this over the top, and there might be something on here. It's touched into the box, and the shot is over the bar. Not a bad effort upfield there for the British Virgin Islands as they try to get something going here in this game. Tyler Forbes high up the field, just trying to make it happen. St. Kitts and Nevis coming forward again. Looking to float this through the middle. Again, nothing on for St. Kitts and Nevis, hanging up in the wind. This one ends up out of play, both teams appealing, and it's a throw-in that will go to the British Virgin Islands. It's the top team in each group here in League C that gets promotion back to League B, and they advance to the play-in round as they try to qualify for the Gold Cup. Big opportunity for so many of these teams. Gold Cup again coming next year. That pass off the mark. It runs out of play. Just a giveaway from St. Kitts and Nevis and out of play. Out of play, and another throw-in coming. And maybe a chance to get everybody forward. Looks to be a long throw on the way for the British Virgin Islands. This is Justin Smith, who wasn't even supposed to start this game, but it's a long throw. It's off the fingertips of Archibald, and it's saved off the line. Not exactly what St. Kitts and Nevis had planned there, but that is a definite weapon for the British Virgin Islands as this is floated forward again, and nothing doing for Miguel Marshall. Now Justin Smith comes into today not even thinking he'll be on the field for too long. At least he thought he'd be coming off the bench. He didn't think it'd be starting from the opening whistle. It was supposed to be Jaden Abrams. He was injured in the warm-up, and now it is Justin Smith who comes on. The 21-year-old, 14 caps, 1 goal coming into today. And because that hit off the goalkeeper's fingertips, that would have counted as a goal. If the ball, though, comes from a throw-in straight off the player who throws it in and it was not touched, I believe it would be out for a corner kick. We could have had an interesting scenario coming there. Never know what you're going to see here in Concacaf Nations League. top again, and this will be a little bit more straightforward for Archibald. St. Kitts and Nevis just slowing this down again. British Virgin Islands still trying to get something going in this game, aside from just trying to score off of long throw-ins. Have only had 15% of the ball. One shot. They only have 21 accurate passes so far. That is to the 161 of St. Kitts and Nevis. British Virgin Islands struggling to get on the ball and keep possession. Trying to play it through the middle again. Commanding header through the middle. British Virgin Islands able to get it out to the near side. It's Marshall who sends it forward again. And it'll be tracked down again by Malik Roberts. Roberts starting things now for St. Kitts and Nevis. Manager for St. Kitts and Nevis, Francisco Molina, the 56-year-old Mexican manager hired last year. Trying to get this team back to the Gold Cup. And this is slid into the box, comes to the end line, it comes in front, and it's turned just wide. Taquani Williams was on the doorstep again for St. Kitts and Nevis. So close to finding a brace inside of 25 minutes. Dionis Stephen was the man on the far side, and Taquani Williams just missed it. That was, or it should have been, an easy tap-in goal. Instead, he pushes it wide. Loaded over the top, and it's a bad giveaway here, but Archibald is able to recover. A big stop there, denying Tyler Forbes. St. Kitts and Nevis may have that early goal, but they have looked a bit shaky in a few moments. Stoppage coming, and it looks like this will be the hydration break in the first half. So 26 minutes gone. The opening goal coming from Taquani Williams, and you'd probably say he should have a second goal in this game as well. So far, so good for St. Kitts and Nevis, limiting almost any chance that British Virgin Islands have, but they have had a few interesting moments in transition. The long throw-in, and then that play just a few moments ago with the missed back pass. I'm sure just some subtle reminders from the manager, Francisco Molina. Well, head coach for British Virgin Islands, Chris Kiwomya, the 54-year-old Englishman, has been at the helm of this club, or pardon me, this nation since 2021. Got them into the second round of World Cup qualifying. Team that hasn't had a whole lot of success in terms of victories recently. Did beat the Turks and Caicos Islands last September. A year and a day ago was their last win. It was Caesar and Chalwell who scored the goals. Chalwell scored a brace on that day. Caesar chipped in an early goal as well. Players back on the field after the hydration break. And looks like we are ready to resume. Come through the middle again, it's Taquani Williams, and his shot is over the bar. St. Kitts and Nevis on the ball, close to 85% possession. Just an astounding number. We don't normally see that much these days. Moved out wide, and St. Kitts and Nevis looking over the top once again. Collected by Emery, he turns it back and he turns it over. And the British Virgin Islands a chance to progress down the far side. Christian Javier is clipped, and the referee will go to his pocket here, and it's the game's first yellow card. Looks like Johannes Mitchum has his name taken. A yellow card right at the 30-minute mark.
It's number 8, Johannes Mitchell. The card coming in the 31st minute.
Mitchum, the 26-year-old, one of the more experienced players in terms of caps. 36 of them coming into play today. I'm going to move this ahead. It's another whistle. Free kick coming for St. Kitts and Nevis. Very busy day of Nations League action across League A, B, and C. Turning this back out wide. The cross coming in. Able to center this ball, and the clearance is off to the near side and out of play. A throw-in coming for St. Kitts and Nevis. into the corner. A long throw incoming. Malik Roberts going to attempt this. A good one for the British Virgin Islands. This one ends up out of play, and now a corner kick. It's Mitchum who sends in the corner towards the top of the area. I think it's Nevis trying to keep it, and now maybe a chance to run for the British Virgin Islands. They find space on the far side. Good work, though, to get some red jerseys back. And nothing coming up this for the British Virgin Islands. St. Kitts and Nevis able to restart things here. And now a player down for the British Virgin Islands, and the training staff will have to come onto the field. Another stoppage in play here with under 10 minutes to go until the break. Just trying to run away here, but the challenge put in, and it was Jaden Abrams who tumbled over, and he is receiving treatment here. Everybody back on their feet, and Abrams off to come off the field here for just a moment because the training staff came on. Floated forward, and the header is out of play. It's another corner kick coming for St. Kitts and Nevis. And this first half continuing in a good way for the team in red. An in-swinging ball from Mitchum, plays it to the back post, and the young goalkeeper, Mackay Waters, up to claim it. Interesting predicament today for Mackay Waters, the 21-year-old. His international debut. Goalkeeper got the start the other day for the British Virgin Islands. Frankie Beckles, not even on the bench today, not participating. He has been the regular starter. Beckles started both World Cup qualifiers over the summer. He also played both games against the U.S. Virgin Islands in the first round of World Cup qualifiers. Beckles not part of today's encounter. Long throw. The header was right in the middle, and it looks like it'll be a chance to do this again. It's Justin Smith. Again, remember, the player wasn't even supposed to start today. These long throws have been a big part of the first half for the British Virgin Islands as it comes in again. Commanding header in the middle. Those long throws, it's all about winning that first header as this is quickly played ahead, looking for Taquani Williams. And it runs into the arms, again, of Mackay Waters. Play this infield. Emery has to play it back, and St. Kitts and Nevis again showing that patience. Not wanting to force anything. And a stoppage here. There's a player down for St. Kitts and Nevis, and looks like a collision there on the far side. Christian Javier is down for British Virgin Islands. Another look at it here, just trying to run away, and it was Dionis Stephen who collided there with Christian Javier. Nothing really in that. players back on their feet and looking to continue on in this first half. Should get a decent amount of stoppage time. There's been a few injury stoppages, plus the hydration break. Drop ball to put it back in play, and St. Kitts and Nevis can continue on. Collision there in the air, and this is a free kick going to St. Kitts and Nevis, and they want to go relatively quickly here. Malik Roberts will walk away from it. Andre Burley to put it back in play. Something in transition for the British Virgin Islands. It's 3-on-4 and a foul. That is something, if you're St. Kitts and Nevis, you just cannot do. And a yellow card goes to Raheem Hanley as well. So 2 yellow cards in this game, both to St. Kitts and Nevis players. They had numbers. There was really no reason to foul here. Burley had him in a good spot, but credit Tyler Forbes absorbing that contact.
44th minute.
And now a chance to get another ball into the box. Sounds good. A set piece on the way for the British Virgin Islands as they try to find an equalizer. Lofted up, and towards the end line, it's a bit wasteful. As we enter stoppage time, which is 4 minutes this afternoon from the Truman Bodden Sports Complex here in Georgetown, Cayman Islands. Cayman Islands, the host for this September window. St. Kitts and Nevis trying to come forward again. Decent defending, and a corner kick is conceded. Another opportunity for Johannes Mitchum from the corner flag. Corner kick number 5 is lifted in, and it's taken by Mackay Waters. He was getting close to that goal line. But in the end, all is good that ends well. Long downfield. Play it back in field, and St. Kitts and Nevis will settle things again, approaching the midway point of the minimum of 4 minutes. Another throw in coming. St. Kitts and Nevis go quick with it this time. Malik Roberts moves it back. Andre Burley. And and Raheem Hanley make up this back three for St. Kitts and Nevis. Just conceding that one goal the other day. Another whistle here. This time it'll go back the other way to the British Virgin Islands. Miguel Marshall to send it forward for the British Virgin Islands. Another throw in coming. They want to go with the long throw here from close to midfield. It looks like it. This one gets all the way into the box, but nobody there in a yellow shirt. I think from that sort of distance, always going to be tough to get something going towards goal on the long throw. Coming forward again, this checks up on the natural grass surface. One last chance for St. Kitts and Nevis. Cross comes in, bicycle kick. It is saved. Wow, what a way to end the first half. And it was almost in spectacular fashion. Tequani Williams looking for a first half brace. Well, this half is not over yet. There was a whistle, but it looks like it's a corner kick. Still some of the last action of this first half. My goodness. The corner kick comes in. Another chance as it comes through the box again. It's a foul. We'll go back the other way. And the first half has come to a close. Oh, what a first 45 minutes. It almost ended with a bicycle kick there at the end. St. Kitts and Nevis is in control, in full control of this game so far. And at the break, Tequani Williams' goal is the difference. Through 45 minutes in Concacaf Nations League, League C, Group C, St. Kitts and Nevis 1, British Virgin Islands.
Concacaf Nations League. Fly to over 160 destinations worldwide with one of the world's best airlines and enjoy a seamless and effortless travel experience. Be the first to watch highlights of this game in our official YouTube channel at Concacaf. And don't miss the best moments of Concacaf games and tournaments. Follow us on TikTok at Concacaf.
ready for the call.
Ladies and gentlemen, the goal scored for Nevis by number 7, Tijuana.
Players back out on the field here in Georgetown, Cayman Islands, the Truman Bodden Sports Complex. It's St. Kitts and Nevis taking on the British Virgin Islands. She's glad to be with you. Tuning in from today. Beautiful day here in the Cayman Islands. Cloud cover coming in, but right now the field engulfed in sunlight as we are set for 45 more minutes in this September window. Teams will switch ends. There's the whistle, and we are underway. British Virgin Islands in the yellow tops, and all red. It is St. Kitts and Nevis, and fortunately, that sort of sequence of play sums up the first half for the British Virgin Islands. Not able to keep the ball. They only had about 25% possession in that first half. It was all St. Kitts and Nevis with 7 shots, 2 of them on target. And maybe should have had a few more goals as well. Taquani Williams has been up for it in this game so far. A goal and a missed bicycle kick attempt. He had another tap in that went wide. So at the moment, British Virgin Islands are hanging in this game. And it's up to St. Kitts and Nevis to try to find a few more goals. Although a win today, and they would move atop the group. They already are atop the group just based on goal difference. Chance to go on points as well and be a perfect 2 for 2 after their opening 2 matches here in Nations League. It's over the top and an easy take for the experienced Jelani Archibald. Floated forward. A throw-in on the way for St. Kitts and Nevis. St. Kitts and Nevis again showing its patience. Through the middle. Here comes Amory trying to turn the corner. Now the cross comes in. Good defending, but St. Kitts and Nevis able to keep it, and then it's turned over. And a chance to look up fields. The flag will stay down for now. Now it comes up. It will stop the progress of the British Virgin Islands. Sharon Gallimore was leading the break for British Virgin Islands, but nothing doing in the end. The St. Kitts and Nevis side looking for 2 wins out of 2 here in Nations League. The next matches up will be against the British Virgin Islands again, and then they'll take on the Cayman Islands on October 15th. The next match on October 12th. Still games on the schedule for next year in World Cup qualification against Trinidad and Tobago and Grenada. Right now, St. Kitts and Nevis in 3rd place in Group B. As this comes and is taken by Archibald. 2 top teams in the group, Costa Rica and Trinidad and Tobago, along with Grenada and the Bahamas in that group with St. Kitts and Nevis. Top 2 teams advance on, so if St. Kitts and Nevis can win that game against Trinidad and Tobago, things could be looking up for them. But that is still about a year away. Our player down is Christian Javier, who is straddling the touchline, which means we have to wait until he can get back to his feet. They have just banged knees there with Deonis Stephen. Five minutes into this second half, and right now it is all St. Kitts and Nevis picking up right where they left off after the first half. Following very similar trends to what we've seen so far, as the British Virgin Islands have had a few moments in transition, but haven't had too much going forward. Here's Stephen, sends the cross away, a touch in his space, going down in the box. All eyes to the referee, and out for a goal kick. Nothing doing for St. Kitts and Nevis. So a goal kick here as British Virgin Islands try to get things going. Now it's Christian Javier who is hobbling off. He was the player that was just down injured a moment ago, and wonder if his day now could be coming to a close. So he will be checked on, and play will continue on here. Kitts and Nevis looking into the attack once again. Looks like Tacoy Morton is player readying to come on. As it comes to the near side, Steven cuts it in field. Comes towards the top of the area. Emery's shot blocked. Cleared away again. Another shot rolling towards goal. And this one ends up out of play. And a substitution here. It is the end of the day indeed for Christian Javier. Coming into this game is Tacoy Morton, the 16-year-old, already earning his third cap. And here comes British Virgin Islands again, trying to turn the corner. Forbes goes down, there's no whistle. Diagonal looking for Dionis Steven. Some contact there towards the end line and out for another goal kick. Right now there has not been much going in terms of chances for St. Kitts and Nevis. Been surprised that they can't get anything going right now. Forbes battling for it. Comes back upfield. St. Kitts and Nevis get it back in their grasp. British Virgin Islands just haven't gotten much going upfield in this game. Played through the middle once again. Taquani Williams taken off the ball. St. Kitts and Nevis collected again very quickly. Move towards the end line, it runs out of play. And another goal kick. Floated forward again, and the header out of play. Throw in coming here for the British Virgin Islands, as looks like Kyle Kelly is preparing to come on. Also looks like Adrian Padilla is preparing for the British Virgin Islands. So a couple of subs on the way for both sides, as Taquani Williams is on it here. Williams gets end line, cuts it back, shooting chance, shot wide. Out for a goal kick, and now the subs can enter. First sub will be the end of the day for Theo Wharton. Kyle Kelly comes on. The 18-year-old will earn his fourth cap. The player who is the Liverpool Youth Academy. He's played for some of the youth teams. Meanwhile, Jaden Abrams, the 17-year-old, will check out.
28th
And
minute.
entering is the 18-year-old Adrian Padilla, who will earn his 4th cap today. Some youth being served as a couple of 18-year-olds check into this game. It's already now the 2nd substitution window used by Chris Kiwomya. That is the 1st sub of the day for St. Kitts and Nevis. We'll see how Kelly adjusts to play here coming off the bench. Trying to move this ahead and then out of play. Here's Burley. And now Raheem Hanley moves this one ahead on the turn. Kyle Kelly. Kelly loses it. Mitchum now moves it off to the far side. Taquani Williams on it for St. Kitts and Nevis, and he's taken off the ball. That's the substitute in Adrian Padilla, but nothing doing, and British Virgin Islands earn a free kick. That's another whistle, and it will go back to St. Kitts and Nevis. Cuts it infield. Kyle Kelly. Now Johannes Mitchum. This is moved ahead again. Heavy touch will take him to the end line. The cross comes in and taken by Mackay Waters. Waters sends it upfield. A heavy touch, turned over. St. Kitts and Nevis able to win it back so quickly. It's been a microcosm of this game. Even in the moments where they are a bit lazy in possession, they are able to win the ball back so quickly. Rolled infield again. And now a chance to carry this out for the British Virgin Islands. Absorbing some contact. A whistle in the middle, and a free kick will go towards the British Virgin Islands. Some contact there on the shoulder. Going down to Sharon Gallimore. And a free kick here. Trying to send this forward. It was off the man who was making up the wall for St. Kitts and Nevis. Now the back pass is turned over, and it's a second goal. Absolute disaster for the British Virgin Islands. St. Kitts and Nevis add a second, and it is 2-0 to the Sugar Boys. Taquani Williams staying with the play. The back pass by Akaija Williams was definitely not hard enough, and this is just an easy goal for Taquani Williams. A brace in now 2 straight games for Williams, and it is 2-0 to St. Kitts and Nevis. Well, that's exactly what St. Kitts and Nevis was looking for the British Virgin Islands. That is not. And give a lot of credit to the one man, Taquani Williams, who got the block on the free kick. He stayed with the play, chased after the loose ball, and then scored the goal. That was all Taquani Williams. The player sits down on the surface for the British Virgin Islands, but St. Kitts and Nevis will play on for now. And now the ball put out of play. And attention to the injured player. It's an interesting moment now for Chris Kiwomya. He's made 2 subs in 2 windows. So if he wants to make any more subs, they all have to be in this final window. But it will all determine whether the player down can continue on. Looks like everybody back on their feet. This played over the top. It's a foul, and it's a yellow card. This time it's Mervyn Lewis. Tugging the jersey of Tyler Forbes, and that was interesting because I think St. Kitts and Nevis thought they would get the ball right back, but instead, British Virgin Islands threw the ball in and went upfield. They put the ball out because of the injury. Now it's Lewis, the 3rd player into the book, while Forbes and Marshall stand over the set piece for the British Virgin Islands. Forbes sends it in, flicked header away. And it runs out for a throw-in. Another long throw-in coming for Justin Smith. Good depth on this. Push in the back. Would have been a corner kick, but instead it's a free kick back to St. Kitts and Nevis. Second ball picked up. St. Kitts and Nevis driving forward to Kwani Williams. Yesterday there was a hat trick in Nations League. It was Duckins in his zone.
We have a substitution.
And now two subs coming.
Exiting by number 7, Juan Brown, replaced by number 13.
Juan Brown will be exiting. Well, Shavine Boston and Jalen Burt will enter this game. Johannes Mitchum, the other player, coming out.
Substitutions coming in the 69th minute.
Burt, the 20-year-old, earning his second cap. Shavine Boston, the 27-year-old, also earning his second cap. Burt, number 13, Boston, number 9. Good shifts put in by both Brown and Mitchum today. Mitchum stood over most of the set pieces for St. Kitts and Nevis. Another ball floated forward, and there is Mackay Waters to come to claim it. Stepping forward again. Now upfield, is there anything on for Tyler Forbes? He finds some more space for himself, but another red shirt is there to meet him. Forbes has just been trying to do this all on his lonesome high up the field. He's able to keep the ball for the British Virgin Islands. It was a heavy touch. Another heavy touch, but they keep it still. Weaving through, the shot taken, a deflection on it, and a corner kick on the way. First corner kick of the game coming for the British Virgin Islands. Great work by Jasharen Gallimore just to weave his way through. Chance for an in-swinger. Lifting this into the middle, bouncing around and taken by Jelani Archibald. This is long downfield on the distribution. It'll run out of play. A throw-in on the way, and past the 70-minute mark, a chance for a hydration break in this second half. Warm temperatures close to 90 degrees. The players will come over to their respective technical areas. St. Kitts and Nevis, the 2 goals in the game, both scored by Kwani Williams. Forward now has 2 braces in 2 games. He's been the go-to man for St. Kitts and Nevis. They still have 2 subs to make in this game. British Virgin Islands have 3 subs still available, but all have to be in 1 window. The same goes in that 1 window for St. Kitts and Nevis. And here are some subs coming. End of the day for William Green. Coming on is Zarni Callwood. Also coming onto the field is Jaden Kwashi for his international debut. He'll come on to replace Luca Chalwell. And those are the final two subs of the day for the British Virgin Islands. Kwashi and Callwood. Callwood, the 17-year-old, earning his 6th cap. So those two players look at about 16 minutes plus stoppage time to get something going in this second half for the British Virgin Islands. Still looking for their first goal. Down the line, and the cross coming in was put in a good area. Collected again at the back post. And this time the shot fired well out of play. St. Kitts and Nevis looking into the attack. Move it out wide, and it's broken up. Slipping on the surface, and St. Kitts and Nevis get it back under their control. Moved ahead again to Kwani Williams now. Williams lost possession and put out of play a throw-in for St. Kitts and Nevis. About 14 minutes to go. Through the middle again. This one laid off the return ball as it comes centrally on the turn. An extra couple touches, and now the shot is blocked. Nothing doing for St. Kitts and Nevis. Moved out of play. And a throw-in coming for St. Kitts and Nevis. In full control, haven't been under much threat. It is all going their way right now. Gonna come forward again. This ball played through. Steven out wide. Steven, the cross taken by Mackay Waters. It's been a solid debut in goal for Mackay Waters. Long downfield and bouncing into the arms of Jelani Archibald. Just into his hands. Couple players down here. Another look at it. Heavy fall for Gavon Amory. Moved over the top again, and this one will run out of play. A goal kick on the way for the British Virgin Islands.
Ladies and gentlemen,
More subs coming. It's the end of the day for Dionis Stephen. And entering will be Javern Matthew. The 23-year-old will earn his second cap. Also the end of the day for Andre Burley. And entering is Omarion Libbard, the 22-year-old on his international debut. So plenty of debuts today on both sides. Burley, the man who plays for Oxford City in England. But a lot of this St. Kitts and Nevis side plays domestically. This comes back towards goal and runs towards the end line. It actually stays in play. Cutting it infield, now rolling it forward. Trying to break through that line of yellow shirts, but British Virgin Islands have put out a stout defensive performance. And you look back at some of their recent matches, take out maybe the games against Guatemala and Dominican Republic, but they've been stout defensively when they play teams that are right around their FIFA rank. And they're hanging in this game with St. Kitts and Nevis today. And turned over. British Virgin Islands trying to get something going towards goal. Getting end line, the cross comes in, and it's taken by Jelani Archibald. Ends up out of play, a throw-in coming for the British Virgin Islands. 2-0 to St. Kitts and Nevis, to Kwani Williams, a brace. Played down the line, and it's a foul. Too much from Tyler Forbes. He's been the one man up top that has been trying to get things going and just hasn't quite worked out for British Virgin Islands so far today. Kitts and Nevis passing it around the back. Tyler Forbes waiting to come back on here momentarily. Did over the top. This one checks up and out of play. Jefferson Matthew just couldn't keep the play alive for St. Kitts and Nevis. And another goal kick coming. Turned over, and here come the British Virgin Islands. Challenge put in, the referee was right on top of it, no whistle, and play on. Now back the other way, this will be a whistle, and this will be a yellow card. So a free kick on the way for St. Kitts and Nevis. As they look to add on to this advantage. That yellow card will go to Miguel Marshall. That is the first yellow card of the game for the British Virgin Islands. Chance now to swing this ball in. Jefferson Matthew and Gavon Amory standing over it. Jefferson Matthew runs away. Amory sends it in low. Looking for Taquani Williams, who is sitting on a hat trick. Williams, only 2 goals of this game.
Ladies and gentlemen, yellow card in the
May not be, in the end, the cleanest game ever from St. Kitts and Nevis, but they are well on their way to the 3 points. 13 shots. They've only allowed 3, but only 3 on target for St. Kitts and Nevis today. 90 seconds remain of the regular time. We'll see how much stoppage time is added. This will be another free kick coming for the British Virgin Islands. Final minute of play as it's lofted forward. Jelani Archibald there to punch it away, commanding his area very well, and taking off the ball. Here comes St. Kitts and Nevis. A heavy touch turns possession over. Ball bouncing around the middle. And the British Virgin Islands get it back under their control. And a player down at the top of the area. It'll be 4 minutes added on. Everybody good to continue on. And we are almost to the end of this one now. St. Kitts and Nevis are looking like they are going to take home the full 3 points, move to the top of Group C. They'll be in command going into the October international window where they will play their final 2 matches. Everybody in this group will play their final 2 matches in that window. Floated over the top. Touched in fields now. Trying to make something of this. Amory. Every goal important in these sorts of competitions as the ball comes down. Shooting chance. Big block on that shot. Around the area that did go out of play and a corner kick given. Corner kick here right at the end. They lift it in, the header's down, there was a push in the back, and a free kick will go the other way. Played over the top, Tyler Forbes. Every goal important in those goal differential categories. Remember, it's the best second place team that will also join the group winners in playing in that play-in round. The shot's taken from distance. Archibald holds on to it. And right now, it's an interesting race. Cayman Islands, Anguilla, U.S. Virgin Islands, all part of that. The British Virgin Islands, if they're not able to get a win, they will not be able to join that group. So looks like they'll have to turn their focus to the October window to try to make something of that. But in order to advance, you'd probably think they have to take down St. Kitts and Nevis at least once or take points off of them. We'll see what it brings here moving forward into the October window, but that's where all these players will move their focus to in about 10 seconds. That is full time. The first ever meeting between St. Kitts and Nevis and the British Virgin Islands here in Concacaf Nations League is 3 points and a clean sheet for St. Kitts and Nevis. Taquani Williams a brace now in both Nations League matches in this September window. And it's St. Kitts and Nevis who leave the Cayman Islands victorious in both of their matches. It's full time from the Truman Bodden Sports Complex. St. Kitts and Nevis 2, British Virgin Islands. Full-time highlights from Georgetown, Cayman Islands, the Truman Bodden Sports Complex, Concacaf Nations League action, St. Kitts and Nevis and the British Virgin Islands. And in the early going, the 11th minute, the opening goal of the game for Taquani Williams as he slots it home to make it 1-0 in the 11th minute. A great start for St. Kitts and Nevis. There were a few moments going back the other way, but nothing really in terms of a chance for British Virgin Islands. Taquani Williams probably should have had a second goal, but it was not meant to be. A couple of yellow cards shown in the first half as well. This was the second yellow card that went to Raheem Hanley, so he sees his name taken. And then a bicycle kick attempt right at the end of the half. Just wasn't quite meant to be. Come the second half, more fouls and more free kicks. And this was just a disastrous moment for British Virgin Islands. Taquani Williams latches onto the end of that loose ball and into the back of the net for a brace and the second goal of the day for St. Kitts and Nevis. They were off and running, and they had that insurance goal that they needed. Well done in the end by St. Kitts and Nevis. They get what they deserve on the day. They were dominant throughout this match. A yellow card here being shown. That other yellow card going to Mervyn Lewis. Maybe a few chances to try to get something going towards goal. A corner kick would come of this opportunity. And then upended and nothing doing again for British Virgin Islands going upfield. St. Kitts and Nevis kept putting the pressure on. They would get some set pieces in this game. And this time a yellow card being shown to Miguel Marshall, as he would have his name taken. But in the end, St. Kitts and Nevis win it by 2-0. Our full-time stats, 13 shots to 4 in this game. It was never really that much of a contest. The British Virgin Islands didn't have much going upfield, while St. Kitts and Nevis were absolutely dominant today, 74% of the ball. They get the full 3 points, and they are 2 for 2 in their opening 2 matches. That will do it for our coverage this evening from Georgetown, Cayman Islands in the Truman Bodden Sports Complex. For our entire crew, I'm Josh Eastern saying so long and good night.